in Surah Ar-Rahman, Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يسأله من في السماوات والأرض كل يوم هو في شأن.
كل يوم هو في شأن.
Also, you can explain the meaning of كل يوم هو في شأن.
The word yom is a word of very wide usage in Arabic. The word yom can indicate just any space of time, any segment of time. It could be very big or it could be very small. As big as 50,000 years of God's years. Now 50,000 human years make one day of God. So a yom could be as big as 50,000 years as we conceive. According to my calculation, it could be much bigger than that. So the word yom is a very interesting phrase in Arabic, which just indicates a segment in time, a period in which something is completed. So things which are born quickly and grow quickly and die quickly, their yom could be a split second. And the phenomenon, the scientific phenomenon of electronics, etc., is measured in such yoms as are so fast that ordinary person cannot imagine. So first of all, this is important, that by yom, it does not mean a yom of 24 hours as we know, nor does it mean only a yom of God as we read in the Quran, which could be 1,000 years according to the days which we count. But it's a very vast expression. And in each meaning which you attribute to it, God is found in a very special state of His glory and manifestation and dignity. Exactly in accordance with the moment in time which is mentioned as yom. So every split second we can translate it. Whatever occurs in the universe shows a special glory of God and manifests some specific attributes of God. And when the split second changes into another, then the next phase of the same glory appears subsequently. As such, if you look at the entire universe and what is happening there every second or a part of second, you can imagine the greatness of God and His changing style and things, His manifestation of His dignity, His attributes, etc., become innumerable. So that is one basic meaning of this verse, Kulla yawmin huwa fi shan. The second is applicable to human experiences. As humans change, they also find God changing into a responding state, which means that God becomes like the human who imagines Him, and he finds God like that. Now, it does not mean that God changes. It only means that His manifestations change in accordance with the expectations of the people. So this meaning is supported by the hadith, Ana inda dhanni abdi bi. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed us that God has said that I become whatever my servant imagines me to be. It doesn't mean that God changes. Of course, He is unchangeable. But He manifests Himself in accordance with what his servants expect him to be. This means out of love. Out of their contemplation, they reach a concept of God and they can't go beyond. So God descends upon them in that concept which they had. So this is the most loving response of God, to change every second or every yom in accordance with the requirements of the people. A hadith regarding Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam explains the same thing in a very beautiful way. Once Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was walking by, maybe on some journey or just loitering, when he came across a peasant, in fact a shepherd, who was washing or cleaning his clothes, dirty clothes, and taking the lice out of the clothes, etc. Sitting in that state, he was imagining God. And out of his innocent love and naive love for God as he saw him, he said, "Oh my God, if you ever come to my house, I'll wash your clothes, I'll take lice out of them, I'll draw thorns out of your feet and do this and wash you and do this." Hazrat Musa, when he heard it, he became very angry. Like he was, a man of very great temper. He turned to him and shouted him down. He said, "What do you mean? What do you think God is? Does he require you to wash his clothes while he doesn't need any clothes?" And things, whatever he said. As he was showing his anger to this poor innocent shepherd, God spoke to him in a very stern way and asked Moses, who was he to interfere between this poor man and God, who was loving him, and God was enjoying that state of love so much. Why did he destroy that? So this is the meaning of Ana inda zanni abdi bi. And this also is the meaning of Kulla yawmin huwa fi shan. Now God didn't become a man at that moment, wearing clothes and dirty clothes for that matter, or with lice moving around. He remained the same God of glory who created the whole universe. But he descended out of his mercy to the small imagination of that shepherd. Now this resolves the problem for us of imagining how God manifests himself to worms and insects and things. If he had not that capability of Kulla Yawmin Huwa Fi Shan, the world of insects and animals and even humans would not be able to communicate with him in any form, anyway. Because we are finite and he is infinite. It's impossible for a human to really visualize what God is. So this verse is a fantastic, message of hope for humans. That not only you, God manifests not only to you, but to everything in the universe, in accordance with their own capacities. So with that you should try your best to reach God within the scope of your capacities. And you will find God responding to you in relation to every change which occurs in you during your journey towards God. At every step you will find him there in a different shan, in a different manifestation of his glory. So this generally is the meaning of this verse, Kulla yawmin huwa fi shan, fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukazziban. Right?